We talk about all of the rookies. This is his first big professional team.
This is a man who has been so explosive in the LPL this year. A dominant carry top lane player.
And I'm not actually feeling good. He chances. Here comes that dog. TheShy looks at down his beady eyes. He spits in them.
Based on performance, I do feel like TheShy has been the best top laner in the world. Just impressive performances by every individual on G2 at different stages of the tournament.
Looking at G2 versus Invictus Gaming, no one is immediately saying this is Invictus Gaming favored.
I think we saw with G2 that they can take a couple of punches in the face. They don't just fall apart.
There's the cast. That's what he's been looking for all game, and the dividends are going to be huge for G2.
There's a reason why people put so much weight on Worlds and performing under clutch situations. This is where you really prove who the better team is.
Shy already had to use the flash. Yanko's going in, finding the dive, and Perks makes sure that he's part of the second one as well. Wonder trying to get himself away, using the flash to do so. We already talked about how crazy the Shy was, how much he was popping off. But this time around, Wonder is right back in the game.
2018 is up for grabs. Anyone's game.
IG are dotting their eyes, crossing their T's, trying to get the second Inferno. Two Perks coming in now as well. Ning taken very low, likely going to be killed to start this fight, but G2 looks like they just want to disengage this one now. They already got the pick onto the enemy jungler. Oh! That's the Aatrox damage, and the Shy makes it happen.
Before we get into today's story, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Omen, for being our portal to possibility by sending our crew on an esports world tour, kicking things off in Austin, Texas, to experience the first North American CS major since, well, you know the one.
But it's no more play. Stewie's won the round. We go to overtime.
Unleash your ultimate gaming potential with the Omen Max 16 laptop. Crafted for powerful performance, the Omen Max 16 is equipped with up to an Intel Core Ultra 9 processor, offering gamers desktop-level performance anywhere, encased in a light, portable body they can take on the go. Then, there's also a groundbreaking new self-cleaning fan technology called Fan Cleaner. Powered by Intel, this built-in feature periodically reverses the fan's direction to prevent dust buildup for absolutely peak reliable performance. And for the first time ever, Omen gives players the ability to manually overclock their laptop's CPU and GPU for max performance, up to 250 watts total processing power without having to go into the BIOS. Thanks again to Omen for helping players navigate through any gaming obstacle to reach new levels with the Omen Max 16, now available at omen.com. And now, let's get back to our story.
At Worlds 2018, an era ended forever, and one unlikely player kicked off a new one. Invictus Gaming made huge moves for summer 2017, retaining Korean mid laner rookie and sophomore support Baolan while building a new cast around them. That new roster included a rookie Korean top laner named TheShy. After narrowly missing Worlds in 2017, the roster went 18-1 in what was arguably the harder LPL conference in summer 2018, and their playoff finishes in both splits, while disappointing, were enough to get them to Worlds. While IG had struggled in big moments, they seemed to have all the tools they needed to succeed, and the meta favored solo laners, giving them a big advantage. Both Rookie and TheShy were considered some of the finest at their positions in the world, and all that despite 2018 being TheShy's first full year of competitive play. They smashed the group stage 5-1, but a lost tiebreaker against Fnatic meant that they had to face off against KT Rolster in quarterfinals. While they won that series, it was shaky. After almost sweeping KT, IG had to claw it back and win in 5 games. And with that win, IG eliminated the final Korean team at the tournament. The era of Korean dominance was finally over. The only question was who would take up the throne. Instead of Korea's finest or another LPL team, IG was set to face Europe's G2 esports in the semi-finals. Invictus Gaming put up 2 statement wins, during which G2 found it hard to get much of anything started. The IG early game was strong, though as the KT series had shown, it wasn't their only option. It was Jace that carried both games. first in Rookie's hands, then theShy's.
Constantly being forward. Perks looks to make the dive, but Baolan is right there to turn around. TheShy is dominating.
If you're afraid of the Jace in the mid lane, you better be afraid of it in the top lane too, because TheShy can play it.
Up 2 games, IG were in the driver's seat. But in game 3, Invictus Gaming got their best test yet from G2, and they'd have to prove they could play from behind yet again.
IG's second game was more impressive than their first one, and they have elected to again play on the blue side.
This game wasn't like the infamous base race game against KT, where TheShy was given incredible resources to succeed. Instead, draft priority went to rookies LeBlanc in the mid lane. However, as TheShy would later explain, the idea was always to play through the top lane.
자, 뱀픽의 차이인 것 같고요. 이번에 저희 코치진과 선수진에서 탑에 몰아주는 뱀픽을 하자고 했고 그거에 대한 결과로 지금 이렇게 보여준 것 같아요.
To that end, TheShy ended up with Aatrox against Wonder's Irelia.
Now we get into interesting territory of where you go. This would be opting into a potentially Irelia matchup for the Aatrox. We've seen Irelia players win if it is a top lane Irelia.
And right away, the tone was set. TheShy would be forced to fight off the enemy team as his lane became a focus for G2, putting him behind.
They're actually seeing if they can find Lee Sin.
For a
or maybe
dive.
Oh, Ning face checks this. He's going to be in some trouble. Over the wall comes
He failed
Perks,
his
looking to find
ward.
the lockdown, and the damage is there. It's first blood for G2.
And now they can turn this into a dive on TheShy. This is huge for G2.
Shy already had to use the flash. Yanko's going in, finding the dive, and Perks makes sure that he's part of the second one as well.
As G2 looked to extend their lead early with a mid lane gank, Rookie, playing the evasive LeBlanc, was able to hold off the pressure with some help from his teammates and his own clean play. TheShy even made an appearance the next time G2 tried to interfere with his mid laner.
Both junglers show up as the claw goes backwards. Perks tries to get himself away, but Yanko's now going to be in some serious danger. The distortion in the auto attack. Rookie is a master at this champion.
But having used his ult, it was soon TheShy's turn to be attacked, and he found himself again run down.
They know Shy doesn't have that free resurrection here. Wow, that's a good flash coming out from him to stay alive, but is it going to be enough? Wonder trying to get himself away, using the flash to do so. Yanko's taken down. He will find the kill in return.
Biggest thing I'm looking at is this top lane. The past couple of games, we already talked about how crazy TheShy was, how much he was popping off. But this time around, Wonder is right back in the game.
Trading 1 for 1 was keeping things close, but G2 took the first turret and were able to limit the impact of IG's Rift Herald. The Europeans were threatening to take over the game, and TheShy and IG were running out of chances to stop them. But finally, after the 16-minute mark, IG found their first decisive fight.
G2 want to go in yet again. Yankos has to flash to get himself away, but Ning's able to find the follow with a nice kick back, and that shutdown credit over to Jackie Love. G2 not quite finding themselves the turret just yet. Yarn is barely going to get himself away from the Glacial Fissure. The claw from Perks to take the escape, and what did will be the sacrifice as G2 lose 2.
Suddenly, IG were back within striking distance, even if TheShy was still behind. But he'd soon have his chance, and he didn't waste it.
But here comes TheShy with the slam into the ground. Where will the fight go from here? As Wadid tries to turn it back around. Over onto Yarn goes TheShy. Wadid's going to be buying some time, but Rookie will take him out. TheShy continues going forward with a second slam to find himself another kill.
Invictus Gaming, who were known for dominating the early game and had already done it twice during this series, had fought their way back to even footing. But it was still far from one. Or so it seemed. In truth, the impending dragon spawn was about to draw both teams into a fated showdown, and TheShy reaped the reward. But the conflict didn't have to happen. G2 was late to the dragon, and that meant that Yankos didn't even have a chance to try to steal it. As IG secured the Infernal Drake, Yankos went golden, and G2 started to turn the fight, with Perks swooping in to help kill Ning. At the same time, Wonder and Wadid occupied the rest of IG. G2, now 5 versus 4, were in a position to disengage if they wanted and potentially reset and flex their numbers advantage at Baron. They had narrow leads in gold and kills, and Perks had just used his ult to help disengage. Instead, with Rookie poking at their side, G2 looked for a potential overextension. But though G2 didn't know it yet, they were the overextended ones, because they were grouped up and in the reach of theShy.
They already got the pick onto the enemy jungler. Oh! So many people! That's the Aatrox damage, and theShy makes it happen!
Let's rewind that a moment. So at this point, theShy was already in G2's face, but with IG down a player, it looked like he was a step too far from his team. Instead, theShy started Aatrox's 3-step Q ability, the Darkened Blade, and hit only perks, knocking him up and dealing sweet spot damage. As theShy followed further, G2 grouped around him and perks, and Wadid ate the second hit, the Cleave. But the third part hit everyone except Hjarnan, and IG rushed to capitalize on the massive opening created by their top laner. Unlike some of the other plays we've looked at in this series, there weren't a ton of small little things going on in this one, and a lot of the tools at each team's disposal had already been used in the initial skirmish. Instead, theShy's instincts found this perfect opening, and his Aatrox carried the fight for IG.
How do you stop theShy? He gets dove at level 3s, but so far behind, and he finds plays like that.
He does the lion's share of the damage in this skirmish, despite being behind early and forced to make do with scraps. From here, the decisive teamfight gave IG their first definitive lead of the game, and they converted that into Baron buff and a couple of more kills as Jankos and Wonder fell again. theShy's Aatrox strolled into the enemy jungle fearlessly and made up for lost time by taking blue buff.
They have families. IG are just taking everything now.
When this team gets Barons, the map explodes. They force things down, they team fight, they run at you.
IG's Baron buff let them shove in mid, and then they set up for mid and bot pressure. IG were able to take both mid and bot inhibitors, but G2 gave chase. And again, it was G2 overextending into theShy.
Hjarnan goes in for the ultimate. Over the wall they go, seeing if maybe they can find something. Legit's gonna be way too far forward. It's killing spree for Ning, and G2's mid laner's now gonna be in some trouble. Baolan's taken low and taken down. They're managing to find the entirety of the fight. theShy goes on a killing spree. Yanko's gonna go down. Perks is alone, but it will not matter. G2 is out of there, and IG will head right back into the base.
Jackie Love shredded G2, and IG were able to push in momentarily with minions while they also secured a Mountain Drake. G2 were reeling.
In the picture-in-picture, they actually lost their second inhibitor turret to minions as well. So now, it is a complete naked nexus on the top side. The damage numbers from Jackie Love has been an afterthought.
With nothing protecting their nexus, G2 made a final stand.
This series ends right here. Perks getting himself back. Wadid's on the front line. Void Seeker fired off. G2 in some trouble there. There you go. Wadid's gonna be the first to drop. Shy goes on a rampage. Everyone else is stuck in the fountain, and IG will cleave through them all. The stun comes down. Jankos goes out. Killing spree over to Rookie. IG clean house, and in a clean sweep, they punch their ticket to the finals.
Invictus Gaming's victory over G2 Esports was one more demonstration of the LPL's rising power in League of Legends. And ultimately, it meant that Europe's best chance in years instead became the breakthrough year for China.
3대0으로 좀 약간 쉽게 이기게 됐는데 저희 팀이 정말 잘해주었고 그래서 지금 체감은 안 되지만 되게 기분 좋은 것 같아요.
But it was also an incredible show of skill from a young carry top laner under pressure to prove he belonged among the world's best, playing for a team from a region that had yet to win Worlds.
He finally now proved to the international audience just what a big star he is and cemented that on the World's Hall of Fame, if you will, as he walks towards finals.
Invictus Gaming didn't falter when they made it to Grand Finals, this time putting Fnatic down with a 3-0 that felt even more decisive than the sweep against G2. Again, solo lanes proved decisive.
Alon into the back line, looking to find everybody. Here comes your Hextech ultimatum into your Galio ultimate. Ning's gonna be taken low, goes into the stasis. Jackie's legendary. They've already found the kill into Stoas. They've already found the kill into Caps. It's the solo laners down, and IG are pushing for the win. Hillsong is taken very low. The Crownless are finally king, and Invictus Gaming are your 2018 World Champions.
The first LPL team to ever win Worlds survived a near reverse sweep from KT Rolster and then slammed the door shut when the EULCS tried to find their own way back into the series. theShy found that critical second when his opponents thought he was overheating, but really, in mere seconds, he changed everything.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.